Having the ones with the big wire. And they push in, no unscrewing. Like God. Yeah, that'd be a lot faster. Good. Yeah, not real bad. No, it's better to show it. No, that's true. Yeah, definitely. It'll be good. It'll be a lot easier. It'll be a lot easier. What's good to you? And it'll be uploaded right up to the computer. You don't have to load the disk on and just get rid of the disk drive. Yeah. All right. I didn't get a police report. I don't see the police. We got the ambulance report. We did. Did I get an ambulance report? No.
Print more copies.
Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board Member Drake?
Here.
Board Member Neisel?
Here.
Board Member Steen?
Here.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Present.
Supervisor DeSclafani?
Here. This month we'll have a presentation by Peg Ellsworth about housing and community revitalization, and we'll have a little presentation by Jacob Johnson. He'll speak on community Wi-Fi. We're also working with CWC to add our ambulance facility to the Town Hall relocation study. And we're having some studies done on a bridge in Bridge Street in Phoenicia. They're going to be doing some soil borings in the next month, so don't panic if you feel the earth shake a little. We will have a discussion on the Housing Smart Committee and Coordinator. We'll be talking about Shandaken Septic District pump outs. We'll call for a public hearing on amending our senior and persons with disabilities exemptions from a 24-month residency to a 12-month residency. We're going to talk about summer rec, i.e. busing. We're going to talk about a piece of property the county owns and make it a snow plowing turnaround. And we're going to pass a resolution to create a Mount Tremper Park Committee. Make a motion to approve last month's meeting minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Supervisor's report. Rentals for cell tower and the medic building, $1,500. Parks and recreation fees, $50. Vital statistics, $654. Ambulance fees, $7,881.40. Town clerk fees, Easy Pass, $177.50. Planning board fees, $200. Police fees, $30. Building permit fees, $3,906. Dog licenses, $25. Zoning fees, $350. ADP reimbursement, $2,818. Justice fees, $6,861. Ambulance donation, $300, for a total of $24,752.90. Communications, Joyce?
Geez, how you doing?
Happy Clerks Week.
Oh, I didn't know there was such a thing. Never heard of it. Don't care. Okay, so all our events are listed on our website, shandaken.us, and also our Facebook page. And Ellen posts all of them on Channel 23 through Spectrum Cable. So if you're watching this on TV, you know that. But if you're watching on YouTube, you wouldn't know that. So all of our meetings are uploaded to YouTube, and they are telecast live on channel 23 through Spectrum Cable. That's it. And you could silence your phones, that'd be cool.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't me. Thank you, Joyce. Before we go into committee reports, we'll have Peg Ellsworth speak, and you and Jacob, you don't have to stay for the whole meeting.
There's a microphone right there, Peg.
I don't need a microphone. I really don't.
You have to address the town board if you will.
Okay.
Thank you.
People at home can't hear you if you're not on the mic.
I was being polite.
We have rules here, you know?
I love those. So I want to start by saying, let's go Rangers. It's Game 7 of the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, so I'm not staying for the whole meeting. So I'm Peg Ellsworth. I'm the executive director of the MARC Project. The MARC Project is known on the state level as a rural preservation company, and we do things with affordable housing, Main Street revitalization, small business economic development. We really go across the board. The organization that was most similar was SHARP, which serviced Shandaken for many years, except they focus mostly on housing. Our scope is a little bit more broad. Over the past 15 years as director of the organization, we've successfully completed 9 New York Main Street programs, totaling about $4 million in funds brought into downtowns. We also work on owner-occupied home repair programs for income-eligible households. There's a lot of housing opportunities now for both affordable and middle-income housing that are coming out this summer. So I'm here to offer our services to Shandaken. Since the SHARP is no longer in existence, you've really been underserved. And so we are in conversation with the state to officially expand our service area to include the town of Shandaken. So that's where that stands. I would like to have your blessing, and I'll need a resolution at the June meeting to apply for some New York Main Street technical assistance money for Phoenicia and Pine Hill combined, which will be the planning funds needed to put in a full-blown building renovation application in the 2024 consolidated funding application.
Okay.
This is the best first steps.
Okay. We're glad.
Questions? Comments? Let's go Rangers.
We'll take comments and questions from.
Sure question. So Peg, I know that you works out of the southern tier economic group.
Correct.
Would you be applying for us through Hudson Valley, or
Yes.
would you be going through southern
No,
tier?
you'd be going through the Hudson Valley. That's the way it would be ranked.
That's
on
where
the-
we fit in, right?
That's
Right.
your Empire State Development region. So the process goes as this: you submit the consolidated funding application, the regional council reviews it on the Mid-Hudson level for a ranking of 20 points out of 100. Then it goes to the state level for the other 80 points to be ranked and funded or not funded. So that's the turn of events. 20% of the review points come from your economic development region, the rest comes from the state agency.
So if we do that resolution in June, what's the next landmark? When do we hear back as far as whether that's been awarded?
When you're older.
Older every year.
Yeah, I hear you. So the application will be due most likely at the end of July. The consolidated funding application is not opened yet. They're usually due at the end of July. By the time it goes through all the necessary reviews, they make announcements sometime in early or mid-December. And then we'd be ready to kick that right in with an RFP for a consultant to work as doing the downtown assessment. So hopefully we have it either nearly complete or fully complete by that 2024 summer application.
Okay. Jan.
Well, assuming we get the design money, and I think working with you, there's a good chance we will, what do we need to do as a community with Phoenicia and Pine Hill to help make this happen?
So there will be announcements of initial meetings for participation and input, and where we can actually explain the process after a consultant is hired, and then we'll work with that consultant and individual building owners on design guidelines, things like that, that we know will successfully go through the State Historic Preservation Office if a renovation grant comes through. So there's a lot of opportunities to participate, ask questions, things like that.
Question? Have you looked at any consultants yet? You got to look?
We have a list of consultants that we use. This will be, if this gets funded, it will be my 7th technical
Okay.
assistance program. So we have a list of architects that we really know do nice work and are used to running, working in these programs. You're welcome.
Okay. I know in the past, there's been limitations, like we've done Main Street grants, where you specifically had to be on Main Street or the main corridor or within limitations. Is there any, what limitations are there gonna be?
So-
Is it gonna be available for the entire hamlets?
So what will happen is, if the technical assistance gets funded, that's when you develop the target district. And that target district should be a tight, high impact, 4 or 5 contiguous buildings on the main thoroughfare. We have been able to phase things out in other communities. For instance, Roxbury is now on its 3rd New York Main Street, and we were able to fund down Bridge Street, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be on Main, but it needs to be clearly high visible, high impact visible section of downtown. It's commercial and mixed use. It's not solely residential, it has to be commercial and or mixed use, upper story housing, lower story retail or commercial space.
Maybe just say one thing about if we go forward and apply for the Main Street funds, what do they generally look like? I know they change every year. But
So if we went forward and we were able to successfully put together a building renovation grant, it would fund 75% of project costs up to $50,000 per building. The owner is responsible for the other 25%. They have to have some skin in the game, right? And we can do everything from, improved facades to interior structural repairs, all kinds of things fall under that. It's pretty broad and diverse eligible activities.
I'm just going one step further, because if I recall in Pine Hill, when we did this previously, the issue was that you have to have quite a bit of capital to start, because you had to pay up front to get the reimbursement, and then it was towards the end, I think, you just commit all your funds and finish it out?
So we have been able to put in place a Main Street funding program, thanks to the help of CWC. So we'd have to apply for that if it was funded, and that gives us the money to work. I made the argument to the state, if these building owners could afford to pay for everything first, they wouldn't need the grant, right? So we were able to put that in from CWC. If you want to tap into that, the only thing we ask is there's a small percentage that we ask that you cover with your loan to use that money. So it would run all through Mark, and then you
A
would
processing fee of some kind?
kind of like that.
Right. And is there a cap on per community?
Up to $500,000, that includes administration.
Okay.
So we've been landing somewhere between 450 and 490. The Andes Main Street grant that we're just wrapping up was for 496.
Oh, okay.
And Roxbury was, I think, awarded 470, I'm not sure.
And you
It's-
figure
it's in my files.
Administration being about 10%?
It's 8% we usually.
8%.
But there's also a program delivery. We send out a building inspector to write the scope of work, things like that. There's lead testing, so all of that is in program delivery.
Okay.
there's also a little money for shushing up the towns as well.
There's also a streetscape component, and that's the last money in the project, and it usually lands at around $10,000.
Thanks, Peg. That was very informative.
Go Rangers.
Go Rangers.
Let's go Rangers! Those devils.
Go Mark project.
I would love to stay in chat.
Understood.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll have a quick presentation by Jacob Johnson,
Is he a Rangers
MTC
fan?
Cable.
Is he a Rangers fan?
Only if you're a Ranger fan.
I can be a Rangers fan, that's not a problem, absolutely. Good evening. My name is Jacob Johnson. I am the Business Services Supervisor at the Margaretville Telephone Company. We've been having some preliminary conversations, Robert Drake and myself, about some community Wi-Fi opportunities as we've built out facilities from kind of our main footprint and kind of expanding it down the Route 28 corridor. So we currently have some serviceable fiber that's active through just Main Street right now. But with the interest from the communities, we've understood that there's some interest in community Wi-Fi with limited cell phone service in the area, and trying to keep everyone as connected as possible. So that's what I'd like to share with you a little bit today, right? So it's important to, and I want to note first that this is a trial basis of public Wi-Fi, right? It's a new service that we've been expanding into, and we've located, or we've targeted through some conversations and inquiries from the community, 3 potential locations where we can target some community Wi-Fi deployment. Those 3 locations currently are Glenbrook Park, which, if you're familiar, that's where our main remote is that
Yep.
kind of feeds the Shandaken building, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where our services start as far as the town of Shandaken is concerned. So we can provide, we've looked at some opportunities to provide Wi-Fi service to the park, as well as some interest in partnering with the Pine Hill Community Center and having, using their location as a spot to install another outdoor access point.
Okay.
And then the
A hub?
Simpson Mini Park as well.
Okay.
We have a location where we can provide another access point to put Wi-Fi in that area as well.
Okay.
So, like I said, it's a trial. It would be a trial opening, right, as we kind of go into the summertime to trial this service. We're looking at options right now to in the future provide what's called a splash page. So once you log on, it redirects you to a splash page. You go to that splash page. There's usually terms of service. There's some additional maybe community information that MTC could put on there, and then the I guess the end user, the customer at that point would be able to connect to that. Give me one moment to take a look here. And I keep saying trial because it's in my notes a couple times, because that's what they wanted. We wanted to make sure that we understand
How
this
long's
here.
the trial for?
It would be at least for a year,
Okay.
right? As we kind of try out the area, and obviously a lot of this would be seasonal as well.
Yeah.
So if we move forward throughout the springtime, we could potentially have some installs closer into the summer, and then we would kind of feel out how the fall and winter season goes. There are some restrictions potentially with temperature, just based on the equipment, but they are rated for cold weather, so it's not too bad. But there are some temperatures where it gets too cold that it would not work.
Would you have signage at the 3 hotspots directing people there?
Yep.
'Cause
Yep.
they wouldn't know.
So the onboarding
They just kind of walk
process.
around,
Yeah, just looking
wandering all
aimlessly
day.
for internet,
Yeah.
right?
But if it's cold, I mean, if the mechanics shut down, when it warms up, won't they just
Right. And
restart again?
the cold isn't as much of a factor as it should be led on to be, right?
Okay.
There's going to be some safeguards. It's just, as we get into the deep freeze of winter, if we have one, hopefully not.
Right.
We had hail today, I think, on our side of the hill, so I'll just say that out loud. But it is May, right?
Right.
So with that, there is some pricing that we'd have to get approved by the town. We would be able to put a pretty heavy discount on the services because it would be a trial basis. And that's primarily for the data backhaul and the access point installation. And that would be all covered in one monthly recurring charge to the township. And we can either bundle that per location, if you wanted, however you wanted to do the billing, we could do it per location, or we could do it all 3 locations bundled together. And that's solely just like a bookkeeping account
Right.
reference on your guys' side.
Right.
So, yep.
Okay.
All right, so we'll have more communication out. Any questions? Yeah.
Yeah, how did you determine the locations? Because I'm gonna say, a couple of years ago, we had a proposal on putting Wi-Fi in the parks.
Yep.
And the reason being that you have a number of events that are held at like Big Indian Park and Parish Field, but it's beneficial to vendors if people do want to hold an event there. It also tends to be a common place that people get together. I get the Simpson Mini Park, if that's what people in Phoenicia would like. But Big Indian Park I think would be beneficial to have it, because you do have a lot of people that get there in the summer, and you have a lot of YMCA's that gather there during the summer for the bus stops, and just communication-wise, I know that's an issue for some folks in town.
Yes,
And,
so we have, it's great that you referenced the other parks. We have surveyed the other park locations. The biggest thing that comes down to how the services will operate is we will need a power source, and we need some kind of data backhaul that comes back to our service. So there needs to be a serviceable fiber that we provide to that location. Right now, for those 3 parks, we have that already. We have either a MTC subscriber, or our services are active in that location where we can provide the data backhaul as well as a power source. So then there's no additional power charge to the township. There's no additional.
So they would be available in that location?
So those 3 locations, we have the make-ready work is the term we use in the industry. So the make-ready work is ready. We just wanted to present it to the town and see what those options are. So.
What kind of range is there from the hot board?
Yeah, so Wi-Fi is really great because it's a radio, and more or less it's a big fancy radio, and what that means is we really don't know until we plug it in. So in your houses there can be a bunch of
Trust me, it's honest.
yeah, no, exactly. So there can be different factors that limit Wi-Fi radio, right? So it could be if you're trying to get out of public Wi-Fi and you're standing inside of a metal shed, you're probably not going to get great Wi-Fi inside of that metal shed because the radio will just bounce off of that. Generally it's line of sight. The units are directional. They're a big round sphere, and off of the face of that, it's pretty much 180 out, and it's pretty much line of sight. We've had some pretty successful tests up at Bel Air Mountain, actually, and if you're familiar with the new lower lodge, we filled the entire front with Wi-Fi service with 2 access points. So, yep.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Phoenicia Library has Wi-Fi on all the time, and people gather outside, and it's really close, I believe, to Simpson Park.
Okay.
It's on the extreme right there. So, I mean, it's literally like 50 feet away.
Yep.
So, have you considered that? Because that's sort of doubling,
With our testing, where we plan to kind of shoot the Wi-Fi, we don't really have a concern as far as interference or interacting with other Wi-Fi networks. Our access point is strong enough to kind of shoot through what's existing there. And this would just be an additional service. And to your point, the way a patron would connect is we will provide a QR code that would be at each location, whether it's mounted on a telephone pole, somewhere in a public space that says, hey, sponsored by the town of Shandaken, or MTC Community Connect Wi-Fi is available here in this location. You would scan the QR code with your camera on your phone, tap that, and then you would be connected to the Wi-Fi. In the future, there will be more steps, like I mentioned, the landing page, terms of service, all of that stuff.
Right.
But that's why we're on a trial basis right now, because we're vetting out all of those connection processes and what that looks like, and eventually what the experience is for the end user. We want to support that as well. So.
Right.
that is a trial. Would this be considered a permanent spot?
So this being a trial, we can always move access points, right? If we see that through our managed services, the kind of the back end, the tech side of all of these services, we can run some diagnostic reports. We can do other data reports. So then we can, once we get the units up and running, we'll be able to do a better assessment on best location. But like I said, the main thing is power and then connection to our network. Yes.
So if you have to go to the access point to connect, is that correct?
You would have to be in range of the access point, that's correct.
In range?
Yep.
And how big is that range? Would it go all the way down Main Street?
There is a discussion we've had internally of providing kind of sidewalk street or sidewalk level Wi-Fi throughout the entire village of Phoenicia. That would require some locations to mount access points. Like I mentioned, we
A
have...
repeater or something?
Yeah, so they would be individual units, just like they would be in the parks, but they would all communicate together on the same network.
Right.
And then that would have the same requirements. It would be power from an existing business, likely. We've reached out to the community, to the business community, and to the PBA, and have had some discussions with local business owners. So as we continue to grow our community or our customer base in Phoenicia, hopefully those community Wi-Fi access point locations become more available to us, and then we can look at another design of what that would look like for Main Street particularly.
Do you have the ability to offer cellular for your access points?
Yeah, so that would be dependent on the device. So straight cell service like a Verizon network, no. What we would provide would be a Wi-Fi network, and most smartphones have a Wi-Fi calling feature enabled on it. So as long as a device has Wi-Fi calling enabled, you would have full functionality of the calling features on your phone. And that's really what it's designed for, right? We're not looking for people to pull up a table on Main Street or in the park and do their Zoom calls or write their annual reports or anything like that. But it's more a, I mean, you're more than welcome to, I guess. But we're really looking at providing a communication line out to the world in an area where there's multiple communities within our footprint. We've targeted the town of Shandaken and the areas in Phoenicia specifically because we know that there is a lack of cell service. And being a community provider, that's kind of what we do. So we see that there's a lot of opportunity there to help out the communities.
Great.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
So that would be dependent on how many locations we go with, and then overall the size of the data. So there's two factors in the cost, right? Number of access points, and then the speed tier, or more or less the size of the pipe of data that we're providing to those networks.
Right.
Okay.
And if we get a bunch of businesses on board and we're using their connection, or
It would be separate from any business
additional
connection.
hardware.
Yep. So it's separate from any user that we already have, any customer base that we already have. It would be separate from their network entirely. So we're not worried about, you know, if Sam gets an access point on the bank, we're not going into the bank's network. It's a completely separate network. We just need to be able to install some additional equipment that would be part of kind of that main line that goes for that, whatever entity that user is. Great.
What kind of speeds are you providing?
Yeah, so we can provide anywhere from right now our base level is a 300 meg download by 20 meg upload, and we can provide as high as a full symmetrical 1 gig service. So it's 1 gig up, 1 gig down.
Thank you.
Yep. For community Wi-Fi, we're probably not looking at a full gig by gig, just for price points and usage. We could provide a 300 by 300 at, you know, no problem. That's our base level, and to have a symmetrical upload and download helps with tourism as far as uploading pictures to social medias and communication out as far as downloading information about local shops and all that stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Great. You guys have any more questions?
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to committee reports. Ambulance. Mr. Muller-Lilly?
I was waiting for it. Also sounds pretty good for transmitting EKGs to the hospital in areas that we wouldn't be able to do that, so. Transmitting EKGs to the hospital.
Oh, okay.
Because we have a connectivity issue with not having cell service up here and being able to do that. So
Yes. Yep, absolutely.
it'd be very nice. The April 2023 report of the town of Shandaken Ambulance, total calls received was 27. Mutual aid was given 4 times to the town of Olive, and we did not receive any mutual aid. With the busy winter season now behind us, the ambulance service has found time to catch our breath and catch up on some training and much needed housekeeping. Payroll orientations credential recertifications, equipment checks and upkeep, and facilities maintenance take up the balance of the time when our responders aren't out helping those in need. One thing is for certain, though, our operation has outgrown our current infrastructure. The town ambulance is the only 24/7 staffed municipal service within the town of Shandaken. The sheer size of the ambulance alone, and believe me, we don't buy big fancy ambulances, have increased to the point that our vehicle housed out of the Route 42 municipal building cannot fit into the fire department-owned and town-rented bay in the village of Phoenicia. That's right, we pay monthly rent to the fire district for a garage that is too small for our operation and is landlocked during floods. The aforementioned doesn't even scratch the surface of the issues with our buildings. The staff housing building, or medic building, located adjacent to the medical arts building on Ave Maria Drive, is extremely small, landlocked during flooding, which is very problematic, and at most times is occupied by 3 individuals 24 hours, 7 days a week. The approximately 400 square foot building provides a double occupancy bunkroom, a single occupancy bunkroom, kitchenette, common area, and 1 common bathroom which must be used by all employees, which also doubles as our decontamination area following calls involving bloodborne pathogens, and most recently, deadly pandemics. Every time an employee needs to decontaminate following a call, they must walk through the main common area of the building, potentially exposing other crew members to pathogens. It is the only area the ambulance employees can use for these purposes. It's a miracle that we didn't have more COVID cases amongst ambulance employees at the height of the pandemic. In addition, staff must go outside and continually clean snow off of the $65,000 paramedic car, as there are no garage facilities at the staff housing, and ambulance technicians must drive their personal vehicles to the ambulance bays to pick up the ambulance and respond to a call. Yet another major challenge is that both the ambulance and police share the building on Route 42. The police department should be a secure and independent facility. There is no reason why a police officer should have to walk someone incarcerated around an ambulance smack dab in the middle of their facility stocked with narcotics. And conversely, the police department should not have to worry about ambulance employees opening bay doors during the course of an interview, investigation, or while detaining an individual. Additionally, the existing office and storage space is not adequate for the ambulance service. While these issues only scratch the surface of our equipment and housing woes, the solution would be 1 dedicated ambulance building with adequate indoor space for all equipment, staff, and storage. Fortunately, there seems to be great interest in potentially funding this project, and at little to no cost to taxpayer through grant funding. This would not only solve issues for the ambulance service, alleviate rental payments, and alleviate long-standing logistical issues for the police department, it would allow our first responders a safe and secure quarters from which to work from. Stay tuned and support your local ambulance service. Stay safe.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
Building zoning.
I have a report from Donna Lemoyne. Building permits 15, demolition permits 1, building inspections 16, certificate of occupancies 2, certificate of compliance 14, fire inspections 7, total building department fees $5,294.20, zoning fees $525, planning board fees $475.
Thanks, Robert. Kevin, Bill, please.
So I haven't received a report from Chad. As usual, no news is good news. In the last month, him and I both attended the Ulster County Law Enforcement Community Engagement Committee, which was the first time we met, basically to share our findings of our Police Reform Commission with the rest of the county. Several members of law enforcement, including Sheriff Figueroa, were there. It was really good. It was nice to see what everybody else did and the various different problems that we had. I will say our study seemed a little bit more our findings were less extreme than a lot of the other towns say in Annville.
Right.
But it was really nice to see what the rest of the county was doing law enforcement wise.
Thanks.
I have a question.
Yes,
Can I ask a question?
absolutely.
Are there any updates on the commissioner, board of commissioners for the local police department?
Is there,
We-
I'm sorry.
We emailed about it at
Right.
the start of this year. I was just wondering, like, when that comes back around.
It's towards the end of the year for the next year.
Okay.
Right.
It's the reorganizational meeting that commission is
Yeah.
established, so.
Yeah, every new or every recurring committee is reappointed on the January 1st.
Right, but that didn't happen this year.
It was just the old committee that just followed the,
But it will be done. That's something Chad and I both talked about at the Ulster County meeting, was that the main finding coming out of it was one, changing the police cars and uniforms, and then also adding community members to our police commission.
Well, myself and Vicky Star here
Right on.
are interested.
Awesome.
Very good.
Thank you.
Rick, anything about Phoenicia Water? Yes, we had a meeting with SLR. They talked a lot about redoing the report that we had done, Rob had commissioned, or the town board had commissioned back in 2017, so they're updating that. The loop they're gonna try and get done with the new bridge.
The new bridge on Bridge Street.
Right. So we're trying to angle that in, and you need the springs to be rebuilt.
They need a lot of money, I'm telling you.
Yes, we need,
All this money that they got, trillions of dollars that nobody's spent, I don't know where it is, but we need some of that money.
we need to find some money. No one here on Pine Hill Water. Kyle, museum?
Museum. Shandaken Historical Museum Report, April 2023. With 54 visitors, the museum is reaching more and more people. On social media group pages, we continue to share history, resulting in invitations to share on more group pages. I'm sharing around 7 posts a day on various pages that are Shandaken based. We've also been invited to have a booth at the Phoenicia's Farmers Market on Sundays. Many of our visitors were taking the poetry path through Pine Hill. The event went on through April with Pamela Martin as their guide. Thank you, Pamela. It's always a pleasure working with you. Thanks also to Morton Memorial Library for having such a fun event. We enjoyed being the business of the month at the Ulster Savings Bank in Phoenicia and received positive feedback from many. We've also been working with local author Ceci Davidson.
Yeah.
She's been researching the Underground Railroad and will be giving a talk on June 9th at the Catskill Center. We've shared property research via email with our metal detection group, the Nor'easters, and liaison John Michelotti. Our event is the weekend of June 24th and 25th. We could always use more historic property owners to participate in our event, so please give us a call at 845-254-4460 or email us at shandakenmuseum@gmail.com. Thank you to the families that have signed up for our event. They are Elizabeth Niesel, Karen Lee, Nick Alba, Chandra Volanti, Isaac Schweiger, the Cruikshank families, and Karen Gortzel. Diane Galusha has been a visitor a few times. She is researching D.F. Hasbrook, an artist born in Pine Hill, as well as Anton Otto Fisher, another local artist and author. Donations include a few Crystal Spring Water Company bottles, a family Bible, and Stephen Lamarca wants to donate the cash register from Alley's General Store. We're sharing history on the phone, in emails, and snail mail, on Facebook and Instagram, and giving tours in the museum. We are keeping very busy, much like Vinnie Sorbellini, I guess. He messaged me and said that I'd see him in April, and here comes May. We still have our unfinished list from last year, and now there are a few more repairs to add on. The museum is always looking for volunteers. There is only one person on staff here with so much to do. Come on in, learn history while you help in the preservation of history. Thank you to our town council for your continued support. Kathleen Myers, Director, Historian.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Kathleen. Kevin, Recreation?
Sam's here.
Ah, Sam. That's right. Sam, Rick.
So we did have our meeting on April 25th, and we did discuss a number of things. So there is a proposal printout for the natural parks design. For each of the 4 parks, we can only start one park at a time, and we will definitely need grant funding for this. But the first phase would be to bring all of the parks playgrounds up to code so that it limits any liability. Autumn Brookmeyer from the parish field, she's now the manager there. She would be the liaison for this. It was kind of her idea. She utilizes a lot of the parks with her children, so she's looking forward to kind of doing some grant writing, things like that. We might go on Robert for some help with that. Autumn also mentioned there's the school does these competitions to collect plastics, different types of plastics for Trex benches. Trex, the company Trex is weatherproof. They do a lot of decking for people. So they provide, if you get It's over a 6-month period. You can collect, if you collect 500 pounds of plastic, which is about 40,500 plastic bags, that they give you a bench. So I think it's a great way to, number one, do good things for our planet in recycling. And I think it would just be a nice addition to our parks. There are definitely a few that are in need of new benches, and this might help their longevity in the future. Thanks to Joyce, we have created a Facebook page dedicated to the parks. We've got a call out for volunteers. If anyone wants to volunteer to help with small, minor projects. We have lists of those projects for volunteers. We've also broken them down into things that need to be done by professionals and paid for. But we did come up with some dates, so we were thinking the second and fourth Saturday of every month, beginning May through August. We're going to rotate the parks upon completion of the projects that we get done. I did just find out what some of the funding was from the turkey trot, so we might start utilizing some of that funding for the supplies or materials, lower costs that we need, and again, hoping for volunteers to help with some of that other stuff. We also did mention summer recreation in numerous ways, and realized that there's a lot of kids showing up. So there's roughly 100 to 110 kids that participate in summer recreation, and about half of them have food insecurities, and about 10 children per day show up either without lunches and snacks or saying they don't have enough to eat. So the library has been generous enough to help with that issue for a while. I did approach Sophie Grant from the Phoenicia Farmers Market to try and coordinate maybe tackling that issue, because that was a little startling to hear. So anything that we can do to help, that would be great. Let me know if anyone has any other ideas, and hopefully we can all collaborate on helping with that. The other thing is that while there's funding in the budget under, the contractual line, those funds are primarily used for summer rec, which is a great way to use them, but minimal remaining funds are there for parks projects. So we'd like, on behalf of the committee, we'd like to ask that a line in the budget is added to tackle some of those projects, mainly, starting with, like I said, with the proposal for the natural parks, is bringing the parks playgrounds up to code. It will lessen the liability. I know there are times when kids get hurt. Thankfully, nothing has come back to us, but we definitely need more money than just, again, the turkey trot funding or things like that to kind of tackle some of those major issues. So we also talked, Kevin mentioned about the Ulster County Trails. So the meeting was held and the rail trail proposal was approved from Bel Air Mountain to Bel Air Beach, and the project will start around spring of 2024. And then you guys are going to talk about this later on the agenda, I saw, but the Mount Tremper Park Committee, Kevin's been trying to rally some local people. Looks like some people are on board for that, to try and get a little park area started for that. So we'll let Kevin elaborate that later. And I think that's it for me.
What's Facebook page?
Town of Shandaken Parks.
Okay, thank you.
And it's
Yeah,
got the
I'll share it again.
Shandaken emblem.
Yeah, and it has the old circular one, which fit nicely, the
Yeah.
blue one with the eagle in the mountain.
And we'll be posting the dates and where and the times for these volunteer projects, and just other events and things that are happening in those parks. So Glenbrook will be the first park we're going to start with.
I was thinking, how often do we rent out park space, like not for profit or community activities, but is that like a possible revenue generator for some of these
Yeah, we
projects?
rent it, they rent it through the clerk's office, all the parks.
Yeah, and do we make
Millions.
We make money.
but not enough?
No, all that would go into, Yeah.
Maybe 500 a year comes in from
not a
that.
lot. But because look at the shape of it. I mean,
Right.
we've had weddings there, people come in, but it takes a lot of effort to spruce it up nice enough for a wedding. They bring them to the table, but it could be nicer, There's no Wi-Fi. But now there will be. That will help, because we'll promote that, definitely. So, it's all little things that add up.
And speaking about the park, before
The county is, yeah.
When will that be?
There'll be a public hearing coming up, well, not a public hearing, but a presentation coming up soon. Again, it's a year out from when they would first break ground on the tracks. They've been having these meetings with the Ulster County Planning Board, which is when most of the public comment was happening. But I believe the Trails Committee itself, with a couple of officials from the county, are looking to come up to town within the next month or so. But as soon as they have a presentation ready, you'll know. It'll be on all of our social media.
My concern is that the rail trail in this part of town is really, really different than the rail trail that already exists in so many ways. And I'm just really concerned that since most of those people don't live out here, they don't know what's out here.
No, I agree. I know.
We live here.
Yeah.
They don't live here.
They've done several walks with county officials on the rails from Highmount all the way down to Big Indian. I know I've been a part of 2 of those walks personally. So they're definitely doing their due diligence as far as understanding what the project is going to be. They've had quite a bit of public comment, even as far back as 2020 through the COVID. As soon as they announced that they wanted to go through this project, there were Zoom meetings, every couple of months. So I don't think that they're in over their heads as far as not understanding. It is a totally different rail trail. I will agree with that. It is a lot louder.
I don't think they understand because they have not spoken with us.
Fair enough.
The designers were just hired, so.
Right.
So.
Yeah, like I said, we're a year out from anything actually happening. So there'll be plenty of time for more public comment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jan?
I just wanted to remind people that on the days that the town doesn't have its park and recreation summer camp for kids, the Pine Hill Community Center will have a free camp for kids, so we'll be coordinating
Okay.
around that.
Well, we'll be starting the summer camp July 5th. It'll go through August
Yeah.
13th,
And we'll be doing
15th,
this, and the community center will be doing the same.
Wednesday,
thing. So
Thursday, Friday.
a lot of kids who go to the town summer camp then come to the
Yep.
community center on the other days that they're not open. So
Okay.
there's a full week of camp. And also, we just, on the rail trail, we just got, just a heads up that they also wanted to do a community input session at the community center as well as at the town. So I think they're just ramping up.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, it's just starting to, I think they just really got the money firmed up. That's the big part of it. And going back to the rec stuff, we do need some work on Glenbrook Park. The pavilion needs a lot of work. The roofing of it, where the 2 roofs meet, the back roof. If anybody knows a contractor, send them our way. We'd like to make the bathroom a double bathroom, put a second one next to the first one, the main one down below. Okay.
I just want to, Sam brought up the Trex program, so I just want to give a shout out to Onteora's 4th, 5th, and 6th graders who collected over 12,000 pounds and won themselves a bench. So it's a legit program.
That should have been 5 benches.
Many benches. They get one.
Very good.
That's a lot of plastic.
We also do the collection in months that, there might be a month that overlaps the school, but I did reach out to the coordinator that was doing this through the school and just to make sure that there was no.
Not competition.
Yeah, I don't want to take away from
I think the
the
kids are
school
tired.
at all.
They're happy for you to go.
Yeah,
That's
exactly,
my impression.
Exactly, and if there's any excess, he said they'd be willing to give it to us for our collection, so, and vice versa.
Question on that, when does that start, the plastic collection?
So we haven't, I just got information about this on today or Friday, I think it was Friday maybe. I got information on how to start that because it's for schools, but it's also for community programming as well. So I just looked into that yesterday or the day before. And so we haven't set a full date. I'm just waiting to talk to the rest of the Parks and Rec committee. But I'm thinking, again, the school does it September through April. So we'll try, we might have an September, October that maybe overlaps, but otherwise, again, it's a 6-month period. We'll figure out how to avoid.
And for this year, for this summer?
I think we'll probably want to start it. I don't think it's hard to start it, so I think it's an easy, just put your information in online and we can start the collection. We just have to also figure out designated areas on where we would collect, and then autumn also, have a bunch of pieces together. I'm just waiting to solidify everything, and I'll also post that on the town's recreation page. Yeah, and I'm sure Joyce will share it as well. So, yeah, it's awesome. I think it's wonderful.
Thanks, Sam. All right, we'll move on to public comments on resolutions.
Yeah, just one on the resolution establishing the Mount Tremper Park Committee. There is still one vacancy. We're trying to get going so that we can start these meetings in June.
Tim Malloy.
Tim Malloy, are you saying you want to add him? Did you talk to him?
Yes, he called.
Okay, great. Never mind. Thank you for the communication.
They just got me before I got here.
Gotcha.
So septic resolution, there's a couple of blanks, so I'm just curious, but.
Well, we have some calls, or we have some numbers that people sent us. Any other questions or comments on resolutions coming up?
Just reading, give them a minute.
Okay. Elizabeth wants to do a motion.
I'm sure everybody's heard, maybe not, most people have heard about plans of Ontario Schools looking to make some cutbacks, potentially close some schools. I'm chatting with the rest of the board, and Robert helped me with writing a letter that I would like to make a motion to send this letter from the town board to the school board expressing our feelings on the matter. I'd like to read that for you now. To Emily Sherry, President, Victoria McLaren, Superintendent of Schools, Amanda Clark, District Clerk, Ontario Central District Trustees. Dear Trustees, the Shandaken Town Board has been following the district's long-range planning and public conversations around potentially closing one or more of our local schools. Schools are, of course, true anchor institutions for a community, and the closing of any facility can and will have an obvious impact on a town and its residents. We both acknowledge and appreciate the challenges the district and the Board of Education face with a shrinking student body. As a town, we have faced similar challenges: a smaller and aging workforce, fewer full-time residents, and a diminished pool of volunteers. We are, however, greatly encouraged by the recent influx of residents over the last several years. Many of these families are new arrivals. Others have been part-time residents who now reside here permanently. COVID was, of course, largely the impetus for this move, but the greatly expanded capacity for many individuals to work remotely is now allowing people to consider living in our area permanently, who could never before. It goes without saying that many of these new arrivals have children or intend to. In some cases, it's why they moved here. As you surely know, Phoenicia Elementary is at the heart of our community. It is the starting point for our parades. It is where our children safely trunk or treat. It is home to our community garden and where clothing swaps take place and cakewalks and barn dances happen. A centralized campus may have financial benefits and be easier to administer, but if we lose the sense of community that makes people fall in love with our town, we can only expect student enrollment to decline further. As a town, we applaud the efforts that the school district has taken to involve the community as much as possible. We hope those efforts continue, and that all consideration will be given the role that these schools plays in shaping not just their students, but the places those students live both now and into the future. Respectfully yours, Town Board, Shandaken, New York. Peter Discofani, Supervisor; Kevin Van Blarken, Deputy Supervisor; Robert Drake, Elizabeth Neisel, and Costine.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Rick?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that the Phoenicia School, there's only 86 children in there. And when my brother graduated from there, there were 550 kids there, and kindergarten to 6th grade. I don't know, Kyle, did you go there?
I did.
But there's only 86 kids there. I don't know how you could sustain, the
Well,
school.
Rick, there are several plans, and I don't want to go into too much. All this information is available on the Ontario School District website. I think they actually have been doing a good job trying to share information. One of the proposals is to move students from Bennett to both Woodstock Elementary and Phoenicia Elementary, thus keeping the campuses open. They're actually afraid that they would have to add possibly up to 7 classrooms to Phoenicia Elementary in order to accommodate the current students. So they're both talking about a diminished student population, which, as you so correctly pointed out, is real, but they're also saying we might have too many. So,
But now you're talking about moving children around in buses.
no, there are students that
Well,
right
they're
now
doing that now.
come from Phoenicia and come from Woodstock and are bused to Boyceville, and they just wouldn't do that. The Woodstock students would stay in Woodstock, and the Phoenicia students would stay in Phoenicia. It would be, according to them,
Well,
it would be a financial savings and a decrease in the amount of busing.
We got a mock extension, we can't keep it,
You should look into it some.
it's just too much money.
Money's not the only thing that matters.
And you should look into it before you just start, making announcements. Okay.
All right. That's all right. That's all right.
Do we have any time frame for the board to make this decision finally?
I don't believe they've announced that they're looking to get through the school board elections next, and then I think that'll be at the top of their agenda.
Yeah.
Will the elections have an effect?
I imagine so.
All right. We'll move on to resolutions. Kevin, start us off.
Resolution 6523, resolution to pay all bills. Whereas the Department of Audit and Control required town boards to sign and inspect all vouchers coming to the town for payment to number and total amounts from each fund. Therefore be it resolved that the town board authorize the following vouchers paid. General, $152,606.90. Highway, $154,248.83. Phoenicia Water, $4,357.02. Pine Hill Water, $264.04. Phoenicia Lights, $783.45. Chichester Lights, $100.98. Pine Hill Lights, $448.77. No money for Shandaken Septic, for a total of $312,809.99, and move its adoption.
Second?
Board Member Drake?
Yes.
Board Member Nysel?
Yes.
Board Member Steen?
Yes.
Van Blarkum?
Yeah.
Supervisor DeScalani?
Yes.
Resolution number 66-23, septic pumping services for the Shandaken Septic Maintenance District. Whereas the town of Shandaken formed the Shandaken Septic Maintenance District and intends to maintain and improve said septic systems, and whereas the town of Shandaken Town Board accepts the bid on May 1st, 2023 to pump out the 53 septic systems during the summer of 2023, and now therefore be it resolved that the town of Shandaken Board authorizes the supervisor to execute an agreement, contract, and coordinate with the
So
envelope,
let CWC know that we were doing this, and they contacted people who did pumping. I contacted other people who did pumping, and we just got 2 bids back.
Well, estimates, not bids.
Estimates. One is from Eberhart Excavation. Their price is $385 per tank for a 1,000-gallon tank, 0.385 cents per gallon additional for more than that. And they gave us some prices for clearing the tops if they needed a manhole cover with an extension or a riser for $400 each, and another $300 to dig them up. And from Hunter Environmental, they just gave us prices of $325 per tank, 1,000-gallon tank. And that's $60 less per tank.
Yeah. Hunter
No.
Environmental is.
They're
But
clear
they
that
didn't
there'd
give
be no
us,
additional cost?
they didn't, no additional cost. They didn't give us a price on putting a riser on.
Well, this is just for the pumping out anyway, right?
This is just
Yeah,
for the
just for the
pumping. Right. So we'll call it Hunter.
I think it's clearly Hunter.
And they're giving us a price of $17,225 for 53 pump outs.
Okay, so that means,
I second it.
excellent.
Board Member Drake?
Just to
But,
clarify,
oh, there you go.
an amount not to exceed, what was the amount?
Oh, 17,000.
17,225.
And Hunter was the.
That was
the
Hunter's.
lower bidded one.
Yeah.
Yes, at 325 per septic tank, as opposed to 385 per septic tank.
It's a difference of roughly $3,180 for all 53 tanks.
Yes, in favor.
Board Member Nysel?
Yes.
Board Member Steen?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Supervisor Discofani?
Yes. Resolution 6723, advertise for summer camp director and assistant director. Whereas the town of Shandaken operates a recreational camp, a
Tape
date.
change.
I didn't know the dates. Is that, are those, what were the really dates? Let's put in
They
here?
decided on July 5th
Okay,
through August 13th.
okay.
You could just start over with that.
Okay. Resolution 6723, advertise for town summer camp director and assistant director. Whereas the town of Shandaken operates a recreational summer day camp for 6 weeks on 3 days a week, starting July 5th, Wednesday, through August 13th. And whereas the town board under section 20 notes and decisions 9 of the town law, the town board shall appoint all employees of the town. And whereas the town wishes to explore available options for a director and assistant director for the camp for the 2023 season, and therefore be it resolved, the town of Shandaken will advertise for the 2 positions immediately, with interviews to be conducted for the end of the month and personnel to be hired at the next regular scheduled town board meeting. Be it further advised, the town board will advertise to hire camp counselors for the 2023 summer rec season. Move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Drake?
Yes.
Board Member Nysel?
Yes.
Board Member Steen?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Supervisor Discofani?
Yes. Let me mention, I forgot to mention earlier, transportation for the summer rec. The UCAT bus has been pretty, how should I say, unusable because they're not running as often as they used to. They're not charging anymore. It's been, I guess, service has been a little bit more sporadic. They're not gonna run a second bus. We asked them to do maybe a charter just for our summer rec kids, and they wouldn't do that. They're not a charter bus program. So I'm making a motion, we put out a request for a proposal from bus companies
To be reviewed at the next
to
scheduled board
to be
meeting.
reviewed at June's meeting.
Yeah.
It's gonna be at least 7,000.
You got it, it's a public service. The bus runs on schedule.
Yeah, they're not promising, they're short of staff, and they're not promising scheduled service.
There's a larger conversation that needs to take place.
It still needs to take place, sure.
I'm gonna tell you that I know when we switched to UCAT,
Yeah,
we were doing, private transportation was costing us approximately $13,000 to $14,000 a year. We went down to $2,500 when we went to UCAT. So
Okay.
if you were with private, I would expect a bid to be somewhere around 20 grand when you get
okay,
transportation for summer rec.
okay.
Let's get Orna to pay for it.
Yes,
We're talking to them tomorrow, actually.
Okay, bring it up.
to be determined and to be continued.
I would definitely sit down with UCAT.
Yeah, okay.
But we should still get the bids now.
Yeah, we'll
regardless, yeah.
just to get some real numbers so we know where
We're not
we're
gonna
at.
spend the money yet,
Yeah,
yeah.
So, second to that motion.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. You're next.
Resolution 68-23, establish Shandaken Housing Smart Committee. Whereas under section 20 of the town law, the town board shall designate all appointed officers and employees of the town. Therefore, be it resolved that the following personnel be appointed to the Shandaken Housing Smart Committee at no compensation: Sophie Grant, Philip Moniz, Gisi Vela, Rosalind Stengel, Sarah Baer. Be it also resolved, Sophie Grant be Ulster County Housing Smart Communities Initiative Coordinator, and move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Drake?
Yes.
Board Member Nysel?
Yes.
Board Member Steen?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Supervisor Discofani?
Yes.
Resolution
You're
number.
going to be working a lot. Yay! Cool. I love it. Go ahead, Kyle. I'm sorry.
No, quite all right. Resolution number 69-23. Purchase .24 acre Deer Lane property, Oliveria 12.18-2-5 for plow turnaround. Whereas Deer Lane is a dead-end road and the use of this property would be beneficial as a seasonal plow turnaround, whereas the transfer of ownership to the town of Shandaken is in the interest of public safety, as the parcel is entirely within the FEMA Special Flood Hazard Area and the majority within the floodway, this proposed use would ensure the property remain predominantly undeveloped. Whereas, due to the town's flood damage prevention laws, development of the property is significantly restricted. Whereas, according to Office of the Ulster County Assessor, the parcel is currently assessed for $500. Therefore, be it resolved, the town offers to purchase the parcel from Ulster County for $100 and move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Drake?
Yes.
Board Member Nysel?
Yes.
Board Member Steen?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Supervisor DeScalani?
Yes.
Resolution 7023, amend local laws number 2, senior, and number 3, disabled citizens. Whereas on February 22nd, 2023, the Shandaken Town Board passed local law number 2 and local law number 3 to extend the income limit for tax exemptions for senior and disabled citizens. Whereas the Town Board would like to amend these two laws to change ownership, the requirement from 24 months to 12 months. Therefore, be it resolved, the Shandaken Town Board hereby call for a public hearing to amend local law number 2 and number 3 of 2023 to be held on Monday, June 5th, 2023 at 6:45 before the next regularly scheduled Town Board meeting and move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Drake?
Yes.
Nysel?
Yes.
Steen?
Yes.
Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Supervisor DeScalani?
Yes.
Thank you.
Tracy, too.
Oh, we're saying
But-
last name.
No.
Yeah.
No?
But you don't
Not
want
having,
Tracy.
we're not having 8 members. Doesn't make
Okay.
sense.
Oh, okay.
Then it's
All
okay.
right.
Just Tim is fine.
Got it. Resolution number 71-2023, establish Mount Tremper Park Committee. Whereas the town of Shandaken has plans to develop a town park at Rock Cut, former SBL 25.3-1-3, and whereas said parcel was acquired by the New York State Department of Transportation via eminent domain for flood mitigation purposes, and whereas the town wishes to form a Mount Tremper Park Committee for the purpose of providing an action plan for the New York State Department of Transportation, and whereas the town has received requests from the public and certain boards for representation on this committee, and this board will work with New York State Department of Transportation to develop a park for use by public, therefore be it resolved that the town of Shandaken Town Board hereby appoints the following residents to the Mount Tremper Park Committee: Kevin Van Blarkum, Alan Vella, Mark Lodi, Brooke Baxter Bailey, Aaron Bennett, James Ameni, and Tim Malloy.
Second.
James Amenta, sorry, James.
Second.
Steen. Board Member Drake?
Yes.
Board Member Nysel?
Yes.
Board Member Steen?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Supervisor DeScalani?
Yes. Okay, open public comment. Yeah, on anything,
Town related.
Town related, yes.
Okay.
somewhat, within parameters.
I asked Ellen if she would pan on my outfit. I'm wearing a navy blue wool long underwear with a gray wool sweater over it and navy blue.
And you're surprised I
Yes.
said town related, right?
And
How
it's,
much?
many of you probably recognize this because this is what you wear in some version all winter. But spring is coming, and we're about to spring into summer. And I'm happy to announce that we can all change our outfits by going to the Pine Hill Community Center sample sale this Saturday at the Pine Hill Arms from 11 to 3. The stuff is incredible. I've had a sneak preview, so I hope to see you all there. You'll be looking much brighter and lighter, and you'll be helping one of our important community organizations. Thank you.
Whose samples are we sampling?
Clothing.
Whose samples are we sampling?
We have Yummy, we have Eileen Fisher, who else do we have?
And we have some other, like, really fabulous designers that we can't disclose who have contributed Yeah.
It's amazing. I'd like to bring
Yeah.
this house.
We can't disclose everything, but it's been amazing. I mean, people have just come forward and sent us boxes of
You had
really
me an ID,
amazing
Fisher.
new stuff.
Is it all women's or men's or kids, anything like that? Or?
Well, however you want to be, it's
No, I
there.
mean. Yeah, for everybody, all sizes and all
All
that.
sizes.
Never know.
Hello. Sophie from Fox Hollow. We're opening the farmers market outdoors for the season, May 14th. We'll be open. We'll be open Sundays from 10 to 2 at 85 Main Street behind the supermarket. And everyone should come out if you haven't been yet. Now is the season. And wanted to make a special note that a new program with New York State and the SNAP benefits. EBT users who get SNAP benefits now get a dollar for dollar match with additional coupons as part of a Fresh Connect Checks Fresh to You program. So if anyone out there gets SNAP benefits, they should come to the farmers market. They have double the spending power of what they could get before this program was instated. It used to be for every $5 you spend, you get $2. Now it's dollar for dollar, so you can take less money off your account and get twice as much money to shop with. And as a reminder, all of our vendors are local, within an hour of Phoenicia, and it's all, seasonal, peak season produce, fruits, vegetables, meats, fish, we have fresh seafood, breads, and then all sorts of sweet treats as well. So definitely come on out. We're gonna have live music every week, and lots of great other community organizations doing some tabling and outreach. So, and then free kids activities, programs that Pine Hill Library is helping to organize and fund. So lots of great stuff happening at the farmers market. And then I was asked to share some information because at Phoenicia Elementary School they do have a garden program that is super fabulous. I know Janice is one of the parents who spearheads a lot of the growing and organizing there. And then a woman named Carol has reached out to also, help people know that for $25 you can get a plot at the community garden. So maybe you don't have a place to garden at your own home, but you can do that beside your neighbors at the Phoenicia Elementary School. So I don't know what the square footage is, sorry, but you can reach out to Carol. Her email is carolmiserlian, hope you got all that, at yahoo.com. You can always email me and I'll send you to her. But for those interested in growing their own food or supplementing their farmer's market haul, then you could garden. All right, I think that was it. Oh, and thank you for doing the housing committee. We're excited.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sophie.
I'm hoping that somebody can tell me,
Can I have your name, sir? I'm sorry.
Andrew Messenger,
And where do you live?
Pine Hill.
Thank you.
I'll vouch for
I'm not gonna check, that's fine.
Kinsey Road in Phoenicia comes off of Route 28. Can anybody tell me what Kinsey Road is?
Yeah.
I know it's a town road. I saw it paved last year. Where does it go? What does it do?
It's just a road that goes down to a couple of houses.
One house where there's a commercial establishment. The town paved it last summer. Most of us would like to get our roads paved like that road was paved last summer. I am not understanding Kinsey Road. I'm just trying to understand why it's a town road. Can't hear you. Well, why? One house.
another town board meeting where everybody gets up with their favorite announcement. I'm Beth Waterman from the Conservation Advisory Council, and we are hosting our second composting class at the Pine Hill Community Center on Monday, May 9th from 1 to 2:30 p.m. This one is called Advanced Composting, and it is the real secrets and things you need to know for backyard home composting to help.
Next week?
Pardon me?
Next week?
Yes.
Yeah.
May 9th. Tuesday, sorry.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, May 9th, 1 to 2:30 at the Pine Hill Community Center. The first class was a great success, and people are geeking out all over Shandaken with their compost bins ever since, and we look forward to learning more next time. Please spread the word.
Thanks, Beth.
Thank you.
Michelle?
I had a question about the Shandaken septic maintenance district. Is there a map somewhere online that we could look up the maintenance, what that district looks like?
No, come in my office, I'll show you.
Okay.
You can tell her.
No, but I could,
have it in my
I mean, if you want, I can send you the SBLs and the names of everyone who's on it.
Well, I don't need names. What I was
if it's-
curious about was the 53 households that they're going to,
It's
Yeah.
a septic maintenance district, so New York City came to us
Mm-hmm.
and they proposed that they make a district, and we had a engineering firm come in and determine which ones, with the DEP and the engineering firm, and they determined which ones were gonna be neediest in the Shandaken area.
and they're needed
Because of
based
the-
on the watershed, on the.
And we did a
contingency
local
for the
flood
water, or what?
analysis in the area, and yeah, it's all because
Or
of
is
the
it because
watershed
of
and
people
water
applying?
quality.
So it's not related to people applying for septic replacement?
Not at all. It's their own district that
Okay.
they have. They've been given a pot of money that we administer.
Okay.
And every 3 years, they have to be inspected and pumped out
Okay,
and replaced when they're failing.
all right, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments?
I just have a quick comment to make. I meant to say it last meeting. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who was involved with the Easter egg hunt last month. It was a wonderful experience for myself, my daughter, and my fiance, and I know that there was a lot of people involved. A few of those people were Chris and Heather Craig and their family. I know Sam from the bank helped out, and I know Councilmember Van Blarkum was there helping out, and very many other people. And it was a wonderful experience, and it was nice to see so many families out and about, and so many children just having an amazing time. And we definitely made some memories, and I'm sure a lot of other families did as well.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say thank you very much for everyone involved.
Yeah, that was good. Got to make that a recurring event. Yeah. If there's nothing else, I'd like to adjourn the meeting in the memory of Ed Ryder, Maureen Boland, Judith Shiner, Diane Kowalczyk, and Cal Smith. Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone. Have a good May.